Hello guys and dolls. Today I'm going to show you how to speed up your efficiency and productivity when setting up your kit with this metal. It comes from heck. So before we get into how to set this up, I want to go over a few of the benefits. So the biggest benefit to this system is speed. The amount of time to set up your kit is going to decrease rapidly, forever, and stuff. You're going to be able to set your kit up in just a couple of minutes instead of having it take 15 to 20, which is huge when you're playing a show and you've only got 10 to 15 minutes to set up max before they start cutting into your set time. That's where this comes in handy the most. It also is great for the studio. You don't want to spend all day setting up everything. You can just whip it all together and the engineer can throw his mics on and you can start rocking. Another benefit to this is accuracy. This is the most important part for me, is getting the same setup every time I play, no matter where I'm playing. The reason I came up with this idea in the first place is because sometimes I'll set up my kit at a show and some of the toms will be a little higher or a little lower, or in a different spot, to the left, to the right, something like that. And so this helps, so you're still playing in your comfort zone. It's exactly how you want it ergonomically, and it's just so much easier to get a great performance from yourself. Another huge benefit to this is you don't have to be an expert to set up your kit. So what I mean by that is if you have somebody else that's helping you, you can show them in a couple of minutes what they need to do, and then they can help you set this up without having to know anything about drumming or stands or anything like that. It's very easy to train somebody to set this up with you, so you can even double your time past what it would take you to set up alone. Another great benefit to this is you can actually see the tape in the dark. Because the stands are 99.9% of the time going to be aluminum or shiny silver, it makes it really easy to see where the tape is no matter what the lighting is. And also you can feel it too. So a lot of times if you're using a marker or something like that, you're not going to be able to see this when it's dark, because it's, the marker will kind of shine. You can see the silver through it. So it's just harder to get the right spot when you're using a marker. With a tape, you can feel it, you can line it up with your hands, you can get it exactly right without having to stare right at it and have the sun of 1,000 suns blinding you or your kit. You can set it up in near darkness. Like if you were a vampire, this is what you'd want to do for your kit. So a couple of things to keep in mind when you're setting this up. The tape is going to change locations based on what stand you're putting it on. For example, if you're putting on a floor tom, you're only going to be using it on the leg. If you put it on a snare stand, you're going to be using it underneath the legs, and I'll show you what that looks like right now. So as you can see, the tape is underneath the legs, and when I fold this stand, it actually folds up, so I don't have to worry about the tape getting rubbed. This one is the easiest probably to do as far as setting up goes, because you can just you can loosen it up and just drop the legs out. It'll stop exactly where the tape starts, and you're good to go. Another thing I see people do is put the tape on the rug. I'm sure you guys have seen that, so you can get the correct stand placement. That's definitely an option. If you're not touring or you're not playing every night, it's probably not necessary. I play one show every couple of months, and not having a rug is fine with me. Most of the time I don't even use my rug. I'll just use whatever they have at the venue, and that's usually sufficient. So with the tape trick that I'm going to show you, you don't need to bring your rug everywhere, and you'll still have a good setup. If you're touring every day, I would definitely suggest putting tape on the rug though. Okay, there's a downside to the tape thing, I'll admit it. The downside is that it doesn't work on stands that collapse into themselves. For example, it's not going to work very well on a boom stand. It's not going to work on the top, but it will work on the legs. When you're doing this, consider that it's easier to adjust the height of something than to get the exact placement as far as where it was facing. So I'll show you an example of that. So in this example, you can see that the tape stops the stand from going down into its collapsible self. So that doesn't work. What does work is either the adjustment on the rack or the adjustment on the legs, so you know what the base is going to be at. Another option is if you have a hardware bag, you don't always have to collapse all the stands all the way down. You can leave those at the same height and then just mark where it connects to the rack or where it connects to the legs or how far out the legs are, that kind of stuff, if you have the room. If not, you have to mark the legs and then just adjust the height when you get everything out. Another thing you can mark is the bass drum chassis majig. You can see here that I actually did mark that. Now obviously I can't do it with tape because again, it doesn't go in the collapsible areas. I just used a gold paint marker and that makes it so you can see it in almost any light. It's very off color from the silver. It's a good contrast. I've tried using black Sharpie and it just scrapes off too easily. The painter marker is a lot better, so just a little mark around it and you can tell exactly where you're going to go. You only really need a small amount of tape, like 2 inches long maybe by ½ an inch wide or something minimal. You don't just rip off a piece of tape and use the entire thing of tape. You don't need that much. You're going to waste it all. You don't want to wrap it around the stand. That's just too much. It's not going to be beneficial. There's 2 ways to do this. One, you can put the tape down and then just cut along where it connects with the other piece, or you can tear a piece off, tear that piece in half, and then what I do is use the flat part of the tape to put against the jointed angular device. So I'll show you what I mean by that. This is Gaffer's tape. I stole it from him. He was like, no, and I said yes. So this is available online. I don't know who Gaffer is. I don't know why this is named after him. All I know is this is what industry people use for everything, and I love it, and that. And basically it's like a kind of like duct tape, but it doesn't leave a residue. And I've got a link in the description to where I bought this. Spoiler, it's Amazon. It's pretty cheap. This is a big roll and it cost me like $15. You can get different colors, you can get different lengths, you can throw it out a window and like use it on stuff. So if you've ever put together a rack, you'll know that when you go to attach the arm and then you start putting toms on it, sometimes it's angled wrong, and then you go to set everything else up, you throw your bass drum in there and it's all just crooked. So what this is it allows you to line this up every single time in the exact same spot. So you don't have to worry about it being crooked, you don't have to worry about it being too low, too high. Now they do have these markers under here, those can help you with the height as well. I've lost those before and it's not good. So even if I didn't have those, I could do this tape and it'd work perfectly fine. Okay, now I'm going to show you how easy it is to remount this tom without having to compare it to the toms around it. You just throw it on, you feel the tape, you tighten it. Okay, so as you can see here, this is what it looks like when you use the tape on your rug. I've even gone as far as putting an arrow facing toward me when I'm setting this up, just for time's sake. Just makes everything a no-brainer, so you really don't have to think about it. Just get it out and throw it together. Okay guys, so this is my favorite application of the tape. When you're first putting your rack together, it's going to be your foot and your leg on each side. What you need to do is make sure that the legs are straight and in the right direction. But when I first got my rack, I would often build this and they would be just to the left, just to the right, something like that. It would make everything else off balance. So using the tape, I can get it straight every single time, and it takes almost no time to assemble. This is what it looks like on the bottom of the snare. You'll see that the legs are not in the way of the tape. So the tape just comes down, it stops the legs from going down any further, but it's not in the way when you collapse the stand. So that's why we have to have it here in this spot. That way you can ensure the same snare height every time. I know what you guys are thinking. Oh my gosh, this is the greatest thing ever. Is there anywhere we can't use it? And the answer is yes. Thanks for asking. What a great question. Here's a collapsible stand, and I'll show you why you can't use it here. Even if I put this tape on as flat as possible with no wrinkles at all, and I try to collapse the stand, it doesn't work. It just does not go in. I'm pushing it down. You can tell it's going down a little here. And there it goes. It's passing it, but look at the tape now. So you cannot put it on a collapsible stand. What you can do, and in this case, I could put it down here at the base so I would know how long the base is, because if you look down here, so that's the part with the symbol on it right there. There's a symbol, Sabian. And that's where I had it right there. So if you look down here, it actually connects to the rack, and then you've got quite a bit of length coming down below. Quite a bit of length coming down there. Now I could put it right here where it mounts to the rack. I could put it anywhere below this lug nut right here. I cannot put it above that nut. You just got to watch where you're putting it here. You got nuts, you got shafts, and you don't want to mix the two. Okay, now the last spot I'm going to show you guys is one of the most useful. This is my floor tom. It's currently upside down, but you can see right here I've got the tape. So if I were to loosen this leg and pull the leg out, I'll be able to put it right back where it is very quickly without having to adjust it to any other toms around it or match the snare height, which is typically how I have it. I can just throw the leg in, boom, I know exactly where to put it, where to stop it, and then I can move on. I hope you guys enjoyed that tip. Let me know if you have any stands you've come across where you can't quite figure out where to put the tape. I'll be here. And yes, to answer a personal question, I am sitting on a different throne at this point. I don't think it's any of your business, but this one does cry a little bit. Thanks for watching.